The thumbnail is always the hardest part. I feel so awkward trying to get a good thumbnail. But hi, all my beautiful, lovely people. My name is Lexi and welcome back to my channel. And today we have this kind of little sit down video between me and you where I'm going to talk about my first love, books, reading. This year has been really hard, but a really good. I have a video I plan on doing later in December where I essentially just talk about, like, reflect on the year and stuff, so I won't get too much into it here. It's been hard. It hasn't been easy this year, but at the same time, I've had some of the most wonderful experiences that I think I have had in a while since the panini that we all suffered through a couple of years ago. But at the same time, I've had some of the most gut-wrenching, just hard days. I've cried a lot this year. I don't know. I feel like I'm not allowed to be, or like feel upset, which doesn't help anybody to belittle my own experiences either. But with that all being said, the one thing I have learned through all of this year is that if I'm ever lost, if I'm ever confused, if I'm ever unsure, the one place that I can always fall back into and feel home, feel safe in, is books. And I tend to not prioritize that for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because I feel like I said, like I'm not suffering as much as everybody else or belittling myself or whatever it is. I don't allow myself to enjoy and sink into that happiness nearly as much as I feel like I should be allowing myself to, or anybody should allow themselves. Like, I don't know, I like cock block myself from my own happiness. And I kind of want to change that. Not kind of want to, I want to change that. Like, I want to change that. I want to make my happiness and the things that I enjoy more of a priority for me. And I've been thinking about kind of a way to do that without stressing myself out, but also like challenging myself to be able to accomplish. So I came up with this little idea of kind of like resetting my reading in myself, treating reading like I did when I was a kid, where I just picked up books because I wanted to, and just trying to see what I could find and reading whatever I wanted because I wanted to read it or because I was interested in it or whatever. And I came up with this like reading 1,000 books before I die kind of thing. And like I said, I'm kind of considering this from scratch. So I finished the first book the last night, actually. I left it in my car when I got back home from work, but I'll pop a picture of it in right here. It is Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour. So that will be the first book to start off this 1,000 book challenge essentially to myself. I also thought it would be really cool. I am turning 25 in December, which I never thought I would reach the age of 25. Do with that information what you will. And so it's kind of like freaking me out a little bit that I'm going to be 25, because like I said, for a long time I did not think I was gonna get to that point. And so I was thinking it'd be really cool if I could reach this 1,000 by the time I was 35, so in 10 years. And I wanted to document it on this channel, obviously, and because I'm trying to get better at posting over here and documenting my reading, and like I said, just allowing myself to love what I love, because I want other people to allow themselves to love what they love. I want to inspire people that are dyslexic like me to read, and I want to share the love of reading, sitting with a book, being quiet, slow mornings. I've been trying to get back into starting slow mornings. It hasn't gone that easy this week. Sunday didn't really work. Monday didn't really work, but today it did, and it felt so incredibly nice to have a slow morning. I'm starting on book number 2 of this challenge, which I probably will film like a little reading vlog for it, because it's one of my most anticipated books in a while, but I'd been like putting it off, reading it for a rainy day, waiting for just the perfect moment when I needed something to remind me of hope and love and life and books and reading, to read it. And so that is Sea Sparrow by Kristin Cashore. If you know me, you probably know that she is my favorite author of all time. And yeah, so last night when I finished Watch Over Me, I immediately picked it up because I was like, why deny myself the love of my favorite author when I really, really need it? I'm about 50 pages in. It's like a 600, 700 page book. So it will take me a little while to get through her, but I'm very happy about it nonetheless. And I am enjoying it so far. But yeah, this is going to be book number 2 of the challenge. So yeah, I don't really know what else to talk about other than that. This challenge is pretty straightforward. I'm just going to try to read 1,000 books. And I guess this kind of can be like a channel intro now. Trying to read 1,000 books before I'm 35. For some people, that's gonna be like easy. I did the math. It's about 100 books a year. But for me, that seems wild. I don't think I've ever read over like 50 books if I'm lucky in a year. And I've talked a little bit about my on my channel already, but I went through this like when I was growing up. I read a lot, and then around high school, the beginning of college, the first time around, because me and college is a whole thing, I fell off reading. And then around 2019, when COVID first started and things were shutting down and I had more times on my hands, I discovered Girls Like Me by Randy Pink, which is the book that I credit with inspiring me to get back into reading. I absolutely love and adore that book. I recommend it to everybody. It is a hard book, so check trigger warnings, but I do recommend reading it if you can handle the trigger warnings, obviously. Yeah, so I don't think I've ever read that many, especially not as of late. Maybe when I was in like middle school or like elementary school when I was younger, I probably read closer to that many books. But I'm also, like I mentioned, dyslexic. Like, reading fast is not something that is easy for me. It's not really something that I enjoy. I love being able to take my time with my books also. So I don't want to rush through the process, and just being able to love these books and have them and mark them. This is not technically the original copy I read of Fire, but it is the copy of Fire I bought myself when I reread it for the first time. And I've read this copy like 3 or 4 times since then. I've read this book a lot. I love Fire. It's also a book by Kristin Cashore. I want all the books that I read for this little challenge to kind of look like this. I don't plan on buying and owning every single one. I imagine there will probably be a couple duds or things that I don't like. It is 1,000 books. That is a lot of books to read, and to just assume that every single one of the 1,000 I will absolutely love is not 100% likely, but I am hoping that the majority of them are books that I love. Because while, like I said, like I would like to get it, like I think it'd be really cool to have it completed by the time I'm 35 in 10 years, I don't think it's super likely. But at least like maybe like halfway through by the time I'm 35. So like 500 of the 1,000. I think that would be also really cool. But I don't know. I guess we'll just kind of see what happens. So 1,000 books. 1,000 books. And like I said, to some people, they're probably like, whatever, this challenge is not that big of a deal. It's not that exciting. It's whatever. But to me, it's something very important. And like I said, it's something that I've been thinking about. And I was thinking about it when this idea originally popped into my head. Like, if I died tomorrow, but I could say that I was 5 books, or I was working on book number 10 of my 1,000 books before I die goal, I would be so happy. I would feel like I did it. Like, I've been getting back into journaling as well, and I was looking through some of my old journals. In my very first journal, well, actually I don't have some of my like early journals. I threw them away. The oldest journal I have in there, I remember I saw that I wrote several times, like, I wish there was a way that I could just sit at home and read all day. Sit at home and read all day. And I want to get back to that. I don't know when along the way when I was growing up that I lost this sense of just being happy doing the things I love. Like, the things I love make me happy. I love spending time with my family. I love reading. I like doing K-pop things. Like, obviously I love those things because they're the things that I make, like I put out there into the world, and I share additional content about, and I like talking about it with people and sharing it with people. But there's some kind of like mental block that I have about that, and like actually like letting myself do it, because I haven't read a book consistently since maybe May of this year. The rest of the year, I've been kind of like just like dipping into a book and then dipping out, dipping in, dipping out. And I could blame that on going back to college, which I'm having doubts on me being in school right now again. So that's a whole ordeal in and of itself. And I'm having problems at work. My job is not the best, but it's not the worst. And I don't know, but I've been watching a lot of more like cozy and chill like YouTubers, booktubers. I will link some of my favorite down below because there are like 3 or 4 that I can think of off the top of my head that they help me so much. So much. I don't know, I guess that's it. Hopefully this kind of made sense. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and I guess this kind of gives this channel a little bit of a purpose. We're gonna try to read 1,000 books by the time I'm 35. Oh, the last thing I wanted to say was I plan on keeping like a journal, like a reading journal of this. I'm gonna keep kind of like a different reading journal from what I've seen other people do, just because my goal isn't centered based around just one year. And honestly, setting a book goal for the year stresses me out. Like the Goodreads and the Storygraph like book goal for the year. I don't use Goodreads, but I use Storygraph. Like kind of stresses me out seeing like, oh, you're 4 books behind, you're 3 books behind, or you're like all that like really stresses me out. So, and I think it's also part of the reason why I stop reading, or I don't let myself read the things that I want to read. Like, for example, Sea Sparrow is not a small book and I'm a slow reader, like I said. So like if I set a 100-book goal, but it takes me a month to read this and it's the only book I got to that month, while like I might be happy with that, it also leaves a bitter taste in my mouth, because when I go into Storygraph and log it, while I feel good about logging it because I read it and I hopefully will enjoy it, it leaves that bitter taste in my mouth because I see oh, you're 3 books behind, or you're blah. And when we were growing up, we didn't have that. It wasn't a competition. It never should be a competition. I never remember being like, oh my gosh, you read so much faster than I do with like my friends. Like maybe a little bit, like if we were reading the same book, I'd be like, girl, slow down so I can catch up. But like nothing like so competitive, I feel like. And I know that it has to somewhat do with the fact that we share books online, but at the same time, I feel like there's a way to still share books and not do that. So I hope that my channel never makes anybody feel pressured to read a ton. If you read 1 book, but that was the best book you've ever read in your entire life that year, you've done so amazing. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of the channel at the moment, but I will post a picture of the thumbnail from her video right here. But in there, she said she would rather read 40 books a year and 90% of them be new favorites, stunning books, than to read 100 books in a year and only like 5-10 of them. And that is my new philosophy for everything. I would rather read 20, 15, 12 books, but love them, but know that they sat right with me, but know that they have impacted me as a reader in some way, shape, or form, rather than being able to come at the end of 2023 and being like, I read 104 books. Like, not saying there's anything wrong with that. If the number is what keeps you motivated to read, then by all means keep doing that. As long as you're reading, you're winning, in my opinion. But if it's more about the quality, which I think it should be overall, remind yourself of that. Remind yourself to choose quality over quantity. And if you love it, read it. But yeah, I think that's it. I guess this kind of is probably like a little intro to my channel now. I'll probably put this as my channel intro. It's not super long. It's chill. It's whatever. But that's my little reading goal, and that's kind of what I'm going to be documenting on this channel. I hope you enjoy, and hopefully the journals that I want, I specifically want these two Archer and Olive journals. I'll pop a picture of the two I want, and I'm trying to see if they'll get restocked in like the A5 size, like this size journal. But if they don't, I might get them in the square. The thing with my reading journal is because there's going to be 1,000 books in there, and most journals this size only have about 100 pages. I'm going to need obviously multiple to document all the books that I'm reading for this challenge. So I kind of want to have a set theme for it, and I think my theme is going to be like pink journals, and so like all the pink journals I own will be reading journals, and so that's why I thought these two would be perfect to start with. And I have like a plan. One's going to be like a collection. I'm going to do a video about it once I finally get some pink notebooks. Because I have no pink notebooks at the moment. All the notebooks I have at the moment I'm using for other things, because I try not to buy notebooks unless I know I'm going to use them, because buying notebooks is a slippery slope. That's officially the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry if it was kind of rambly, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and keep reading.